I'd like to call order the regular town council meeting of September 18, 2013. I'd like to welcome everybody aboard here and welcome to the meeting and those people in Cyberland. First item on the agenda is bylaw number 13-17. I'm going to declare myself a possible conflict of interest and leave the room and turn the chair over to Deputy Mayor Dave Hamilton.
Your Worship, I'll probably declare myself as a possible conflict of interest, and I shall leave the room.
Okay, I call to order the public hearing number 13-17 to order. The purpose of this bylaw is to establish an overlay for the downtown that will direct development to create a positive visual impression, to revitalize the downtown core, to encourage economic and residential growth. Can we have confirmation of notices from the planning consultant?
Yes, we have. The notices were posted in the town office, the library, the family center, the aquatic center, and the businesses.
Okay, can we have the planning consultant's report, please?
Thank you. This bylaw is part of the overall downtown revitalization strategy that the town is working on. We have held an open house. We had 35 people attend, 18 surveys. We've had a lot of support for this from downtown business owners. The staff report included provides background on the bylaw. We are proposing this as an overlay that will be on top of the existing R3 and Central Business District land use districts in the downtown. At the open house, as I said, we did have good attendance, and we haven't had any written comments in opposition. I do have 2 emails that came in support of the downtown overlay that came in today that I can read into the record. They're very short.
Yep. Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. The first is from Janet Kirka. I'm in favor of the process for the downtown revitalization strategy and overlay process for the town of Strathmore. I've been asked to be part of the proposed design review committee and believe some guidelines will be required early in the process to provide our committee with parameters to work in. I've been a resident of Strathmore since 1995. I have no plans to leave in my retirement years. The downtown needs help, and this is a good thing you're proposing. The second email is from Wanda Reinhold. As part of the design review committee, I'm a citizen and artist who lives in Wheatland County and works in downtown Strathmore. I support the revitalization project that the town has embarked upon. In particular, I support the downtown overlay. I believe it will give the project a solid foundation to build on, and I would like to see it used and adopted by the town. I look forward to working on the development of an exciting and attractive downtown core with you. Sorry, I'm just wait a moment. The map illustrates the downtown as we are defining it. Under the overlay, we have actually split the downtown into 3 character areas: north, south, and central. But the area basically is bounded by Lakeside Boulevard, Wheatland Trail, the highway commercial to the south, and Waddy Lane and Village Way in the north. Two open houses were also held in May, which led us to developing this overlay bylaw. The draft bylaw was prepared on September 3rd. An open house was held at the rec center to present the draft bylaw. As I said, 35 people attended, 18 questionnaires were submitted. The overlay bylaw does not change the underlying zoning. So all of those regulations and requirements in the R3, the CBD, and in some cases R1 zoning will apply. The overlay applies new criteria when a building either redevelops or has major renovations. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a visual appeal, a streetscape, a pedestrian orientation that will then encourage more people downtown. Strathmore is very lucky as far as small towns go that you have a lot of mixed-use development and residential in the downtown core. I mean, I can look at a lot of other towns the same size that don't have that. So we've got a great foundation and a great basis to start with here. So the general purpose for this bylaw would be to establish an overlay that will direct development to create the positive visual impression. We're looking at including the railway heritage, and then something that we've controversially called messy vibrancy, which we may come up with a new terminology for that. But messy vibrancy basically provides the whimsy, the color, the landscaping, and helps to create more interest in the downtown. The overall downtown strategy will look at dealing with things like increasing and improving the pedestrian access and working with the business owners. So some of the key components are parking. For example, the ability to reduce the standard parking requirements to approve things like shared parking, where one operation uses the parking during the day and another restaurant or theater might use the parking more at night. Rather than having each business provide the parking, use a shared parking to reduce the actual number of stalls. There's also the option of the cash in lieu payment that could be used then for providing public parking. Design standards, encouraging display windows, pedestrian orientation, mixed use, smaller retail spaces, uses of the sidewalk and seating areas. Landscaping. We want businesses, when they go through a redevelopment or a major renovation, to prepare a landscaping plan and then look at maintenance and replacement. I think one of the interesting things that we're really trying to do is, along with the landscaping, to increase the opportunities for public art. The signage, we want to create sign regulations that will be more in keeping with a traditional downtown. Not big neon, backlit, flashing lights, something that's more in keeping with a pedestrian orientation. One of the things that we're trying to work with right now is there are a lot of vacant buildings, and that's the reason that we're doing this downtown revitalization strategy and the overlay. We want to make the downtown more vibrant. We want to fill those vacant spaces. But in the meantime, the use of their display windows, which sit empty, we're trying to then work with the arts community and some of the other businesses in town and see if we can put at least a display in that window so that it's not dead along the street, so there's something to see, so people won't avoid certain blocks and they'll still continue the pedestrian orientation. And so basically that's the goal of this downtown overlay, and I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Are there any other written submissions?
No.
Are there any persons wishing to be heard in favor of the application? Are there any persons wishing to be heard in opposition of the application? Does council have any questions for the planning consultant? Councillor Sobel.
Thank you. I only have one question. Do you have any idea how long your department's been working on this project?
Well, I think the staff have been working on it for a long time.
Perhaps years?
Several years. I think if we maybe counted it from May to now, when we had the first community meetings, we could say maybe 6 months.
Thanks. And I guess just a comment. You know, as a council, I think we're restricted in what we can and cannot do with an area. Certainly, where it's illegal for us to try to force businesses to stay in the downtown area, not move, or to stay occupied. There are, in a democracy, there is certain things that you can't do, and those are some of the things you can't do. But this is, you know, this is in my opinion anyway, an effort to just focus on the positive and to create an atmosphere that is going to welcome businesses into the downtown area. So kudos to you and your crew. I think I've already established that I'm very happy with this. This means an awful lot to me. I've worked for this a fair amount myself, so thank you very much.
Okay. Does the planning consultant have any closing statements?
I think is that
Oh, sorry.
Your worship.
Actually, just a couple of clarifications. When you were talking about shared parking, do we not have that down there now? I mean, there's a restaurant down there that takes up all kinds of parking, and the theater certainly does at night.
There is, through the chair, I believe there's some unofficial shared parking at this point now. Yes, I believe there is. And I think that we have the Kisman parking lot, we have a town parking lot, we've got some of the church parking lots that are used in the evening. So I think unofficially it has been happening, yes.
Okay. The other thing is and I was asked this question the other day, and I assured them that it wasn't the case, but I wanted to make sure tonight. I had a person come to me and say, well, they're talking about this downtown overlay. I said, yeah. And they said, they're not talking about facades on the stores. And I said, I don't think so. I just wanted to make sure it's clear. Through
the chair, certainly there's no mandatory requirement. We're not, as Councillor Sobel said, we're not telling everybody that now you suddenly have to go and everybody has to put a new facade in their building. What we are saying is, if you are redeveloping a site, or if you're going to do a major renovation, we want exterior treatment considerations that would fit with the theme of the downtown, either the railway theme or the messy vibrancy theme. It certainly doesn't mean that everybody's got to throw clapboard on. Doesn't mean everybody's got to do that. What we're hoping is, and we are looking at this as being encouraging rather than punitive. We want people to understand that we truly believe that businesses will be enhanced with even the smallest improvements. And so, no, we're not forcing everybody to change the facade of the building.
Okay, that's the way I understood it. Thank you.
Councillor Field?
Question through the chair. Having gone to the conference in Edmonton, I understand the messy vibrancy and having things in the window so that you encourage people to stop and browse and shop and walk through the downtown. My only question is, at one point, were we considering Old West, Victorian, and Railway? And have we gone now to just Old West and messy vibrancy?
That's the direction that we are taking now. Is railway and messy vibrancy.
Okay.
I think that the town is using the railway theme and other aspects. I think it's better to keep it as simple as possible without getting it too complex. I mean, messy vibrancy is going to be difficult enough for some people to grasp.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Now, does the planning consultant have any closing statements?
I don't think so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Then I'm looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
I move that the public hearing be closed, Your Worship.
Heard the motion. All in favor? Motion's carried. Did you call in the real mayor?
Okay. Yep.
Call in the riffraff.
Hey.
Call in the riffraff.
Yes. Gavel back.
Well, thank you, Dave. Councillor Hamilton.
You're welcome, sir.
Are there any amendments or additions to the agenda?
Ask us.
Emily?
No, I have nothing, Your Worship.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
I have nothing.
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Administration?
Yes, I have 5-4, Rolling Hill School Division, and 5-5, Earl Bass. And that's it, Your Worship.
Thank you. Looking for motion for adoption?
Your Worship, I would move that we adopt the agenda as amended.
Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Previous minutes, 4-1.
Move that the council adopt the September 4th, 2013 regular council meeting minutes as presented, your worship.
Y'all heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. 5-1, September Citizen of the Month.
Your worship, that would be my delight to offer this month. This evening I would like to pay tribute to a very dedicated group of individuals who have had the pleasure of working alongside some since my very first day on council. The town of Strathmore staff are the backbone of the municipal operations, and each and every one of them has a critical role to play to ensure that the citizens of our community receive the services that they are entitled to. I have on many occasions witnessed many staff members working long into the evening to ensure that the items are processed in a timely manner, so that service is not compromised. As a council member, I often require information for certain departments, and I am never disappointed in the response that I receive. You know, I'm not going to read that. Our town staff is amazing. They're always there for when you need them. They're always there to help us out. You look at just tonight here, this bylaw. It's been worked on for years, and they're still there working at it and doing the job that they're paid to do. Without them, this town doesn't run. Tonight, I would like to have you help me in congratulating the Citizens of the Month for September 2013, the Town of Strathmore staff and administration.
Who else?
Linda.
Oh, you want my other name?
Sure.
Jennifer.
Even Harry.
Jen.
Even Harry. Linda.
Jesse.
Jesse.
Steve.
Alan, Pat. Sure. Oh, yeah.
You have to get in front of me.
Okay.
You're
fighting. She wants to be sliding.
Okay, there we go. Can you get us all?
I can, yeah. Everybody ready?
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
5-2, Eagle Head Auto Parts. Oh, sorry, we need a motion. Yes.
Your worship, I would move that, excuse me, that the Citizens for the Month for the September 2013 be accepted as the Town of Strathmore staff and administration.
You heard the motion, all in favor? Carried. 5-2, Eagle Head Auto Parts, page 15.
Eden.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm here to sort out my property tax where it was charged on 2 units as opposed to 1.
Okay, any question? We're familiar with it. We've been briefed on the situation already.
So
And
I was hoping that the council could actually recalculate and make all of those stuff.
okay, I would thank you very much. I would ask administration to explain it to the public exactly what's somebody could explain it to what's going on.
And Alan? Yeah. Alan, go ahead.
Just briefly, yeah, just briefly, Alan, please.
Okay, In this particular case, it had started out in 2009, where the property that was sitting astride 2 lots was actually assessed as sitting astride the 1 lot, or sitting on the 1 lot, and as a result, John's assessment rose, and because of various situations within John's company, it wasn't actually noticed until this year. We made the correction for this year. However, for the 3 previous years, only council can make that reduction.
And this is kind of a unique situation, I understand, in itself.
Yes, it is, yeah. It's a unique situation because it's in regards to the positioning of the building on the lot line. And so it's a very rare circumstance. But a mistake was made on our part, and that's what happened.
Any questions from council? Thank you. I'm looking for a motion to this effect, and can you name the dollars here that's involved?
We've got this on
There's
Your Worship, yeah.
Yeah, it should
We have
be.
it on page 65 under new business.
Okay, then
You
you want
want
to put
the
that in
motion
there?
now, Your Worship?
Yeah, please.
Your Worship, I understand the situation. It was just a mistake that we're trying to correct. I move that we reduce the taxes, the town of Strathmore reduce the taxes and penalties on the property at 704 West Ridge Road for the years of 2010, 2011, and 2012 in the amount of $16,134.62.
You all heard the motion. Any further discussion? I'd just like to note this is a very rare instance for the papers here. It's not something that is a common. It's just was an error. So please, I don't want a whole bunch of people coming in for reduction in taxes. You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Canadian Badlands, 5-3, page 17. We got to get that mic working, please, somebody. It's
Is it turned on?
Probably not.
There we go. Your Worship, would you like me to reintroduce myself?
Please.
Did everybody hear?
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you.
Cindy Amos from Canadian Badlands. I'm the new executive leadership in the organization.
Can everybody hear there?
Very well.
Can you take the mic and hold it?
I've never been accused of being soft-spoken.
Yes.
Whoop.
That's good.
Okay, so I'm here tonight.
Closer.
I'm here tonight to
Better.
present to you the Canadian Badlands and request that the town of Strathmore remain a shareholder with the organization. So I'm going to briefly go over our strategy and what we've been working on for the last 6 years. So our development strategy shows you that we deal with infrastructure, labor force. We're trying to create, link the themes with the attractions, and a lot of the work we've been doing is down in the green area, and that is planning and development. Our strategy looks like this visually. But what I see, this is a hub and spoke, so what we're looking at is major centers that have capacity of accommodation, and then people stay there and they have recognizable food and beverage, and then they spoke out for the days. So we want them to stay in the communities and then spoke out. Now, what you'll see is on Highway number 1, there's a lot of major activity off of there. There's Dinosaur Provincial Park, Blackfoot Crossing, and we see Strathmore in the future as one of those hubs because you do have 450 rooms here and you have a major RV park up at the Ag Center. 81% of the visitors in Alberta are actually Albertans, and 53% of the tourism revenues are from in province. So we need to be attracting and moving around Albertans. 19% arrive from other provinces, but they represent 47% of the tourism revenues. And tourism actually provides 92,000 jobs in the province. The total visitation to this region in 2011, based on the census statistics, is 4.2 million. And the total visitors' expenditures are 552 million as of 2011. We want to increase that. Currently, as of 2012, our major attractions that include the Royal Tyrrell Museum, Atlas Coal Mine, Medalta, Historic Clay District, etc., have 620,000 visitors. What we're trying to do is link those visitors to our 65 municipal shareholders. We believe that tourism is an important contributor to the province's rural development strategy, and in some parts of Alberta, it is the leading candidate to provide regional economic diversification opportunities. And here you see some of our major attractions: the Alberta Prairie Rail Exchange, Atlas Coal Mine, Birds of Prey, Blackfoot Crossing, Fort Whoop-Up, Medalta, Rosebud Theatre, Royal Tyrrell, and the world's largest dinosaur, and that's what made up the 617,000. The successful...
Sorry, excuse me, could you just go back there one moment?
Sure.
For a second? I just want to...
So since 2006, which is when the Canadian Badlands was developed, you can see a gradual increase as the destination is being built. One of the biggest problems that we deal with is awareness. People want to turn west, they don't turn east, and so we've got to change that. So over the 6 years, we've been able to engage quite a bit of funding. Currently, last year we opened up a new company called the Canadian Badlands Foundation, which I'll explain to you. And then this year we're able to bring our industry destination marketing partners together, and they provided $300,000, and we will be launching an awareness campaign on the Canadian Badlands in 2014. We've won several awards, partnership awards, Friends of Tourism, Growing Rural Tourism Champion, so we've been recognized as an organization. We believe in planning, and so we've done our due diligence. This isn't a house of cards. This is foundational work that we've been working on for the 6 years. So we've done a lot of tourism master plans, area development plans, which indicate what are the low-hanging fruit for development in these areas. We've done transportation studies. One of the major routes that we want to develop is the Royal Tyrrell to Dinosaur Provincial Park, because some people think after they go to the Royal Tyrrell, that's all there is, and we want to start changing that. We've had a signage program which we would love you to partake in the future, because you are the first community on Highway Number 1 as the introduction to the Canadian Badlands region. By the way, in transportation studies as of 2012, there were 14,000 cars per day coming west, and there were 11,000 cars per day going east at 817 and Highway Number 1. So that's an awful lot of traffic. Now, certainly a percentage of that is business related, but there's an opportunity to pull those people off the highway. So the Canadian Badlands Foundation, we are seeking our CCRA designation, and what it is going to do is generate tourism investment at a range of scales in the urban and rural communities. We want to connect investors to projects, and your earlier person that was here talking about Main Street vacant space, that's exactly the kind of thing we want to turn the tide on in our small rural communities. We want to build capacity and host infrastructure to build the opportunities. And as we know, when you've got a thriving community, it attracts business. People want to set up their businesses there when they have a thriving community. So in our first year, actually, of operation, we managed to secure a investment of $12 million for a luxury eco lodge that's going to be adjacent to Dinosaur Provincial Park. We've just taken on the VIC centers, the provincial VIC centers in a contract, so this is going to allow us to promote the Canadian Badlands at critical access points. People coming through at Milk River, actually coming through at Coots, we have the VIC at Milk River, and so we're going to be able to travel counsel them as to other areas in the Canadian Badlands rather than them shooting up Highway number 2 and getting onto the Alaskan Highway. We've also this year been able to bring, as I said, the industry destination marketing people to use their money to promote the Canadian Badlands, and we've matched that with Travel Alberta opportunities of cooperative marketing, and so we have $600,000 to utilize to promote the Canadian Badlands in 2014. Media successes this year were the Amazing Race Canada. Not sure if you saw that, but it was pretty phenomenal to be involved in that. The Marilyn Dennis Show was here, Canada AM, Houston Chronicle, Chatelaine Magazine, and one of my favorites is Kim Lovato is here, and she's from San Francisco, but this is her one sentence about the Canadian Badlands region in which she traveled for 5 days. What I found in the Canadian Badlands was an authentic taste of the region's pioneering past, swaddled in that famous Canadian hospitality that makes the country feel like home each time you visit. There are not many places on the planet where you can climb into an abandoned coal mine, dig up 75-million-year-old fossils, drop into a hidden valley, home to a thriving theater community, creep through a ghost town, helicopter ride above the prehistoric river valley, drive across golden horizons and never encounter a soul, share stories with the Blackfoot people and feel the power of an ancient medicine wheel on a 34,000-acre cattle ranch. So, the town of Strathmore, the products that you have, Heritage Days, a rail history. You've just hosted one of the biggest sporting events Alberta has ever seen, the Tour of Alberta. And by the way, you did a fantastic job. I was downtown that day. And in terms of the press, Strathmore, being the beginning of that race, got way better coverage than Drumheller. Your Kinsman Park, your 121 kilometers of bike paths, and the potential to have a Canadian Badlands long lunch. I don't know if you saw the TV last night, but Calgary put on a really, really long table lunch. But Canadian Badlands 4 years ago introduced this to some of our smaller communities. And on the right-hand side is the village of Rosemary 4 years ago. And Calgary just adopted it last night. So you're the host of Tour Alberta, home to Heritage Days and Pro Rodeo, 121 kilometers of cycling.
There's a correction there. It's 21 kilometers.
Is it 21?
Yeah.
I am sorry. That's off the website.
I wouldn't take even all our roadways in.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking it's the 817 up to the 564 is what's included in there for biking. Kinsman Park, railway history, strategically the first community on Highway number 1 of the Canadian Badlands region, and we'd sure like to welcome those 14,000 daily visitors or people on the number highway to say they're entering the Canadian Badlands. You're 25 minutes out of Calgary, which is a fantastic opportunity for us to leverage events. 450 hotel rooms, major RV park, major franchise food and beverage, downtown revitalization opportunity, as we heard earlier, and you're steeped in Western culture. What's our role? We assist, facilitate, and support. We want to build the Canadian Badlands as an iconic destination. We secure large project funding for the region. As an example was the federal money, Canada's Action Plan. We communicate tourism funding opportunities to our shareholders when they own the asset. We assist with tourism infrastructure development through Canadian Badlands Foundation. We've actually done that at Brooks Aqueduct, where we brought all the players together and were able to create a beautiful space there. CB has offices here, and I actually am a resident of Strathmore. We also have offices in Drumheller, and we use tourism as an economic driver in the region to preserve Western culture in rural Alberta. So our request is, the Canadian Badlands Tourism Organization is owned by 64 municipal shareholders. The shareholder communities have up to 3 shareholder representatives that each have a vote at our annual general meeting. It's a fair playing field. Doesn't matter how much population you have. If you're a shareholder, you get a vote. And we request that you continue as a shareholder of the Canadian Badlands Tourism Organization. Thank you for your time.
Questions from council? Councilor Best?
Your Worship, I have a fair number of things. First of all, I don't think it's been any secret that I have not been in favor of this. You talk about it being a spoke up here, but they're a heck of a long spoke from us to anywhere else. It's the same as calling us the gateway community, where the driveway is one heck of a long driveway. The last time you came to us, we were promised all the above. We didn't even get our names on the little placards that show the maps and things. There was no mention of Strathmore. There was no dot for Strathmore. There was no nothing for Strathmore. I just find that it sounds like the same promises, and I'm not prepared again to have them broken.
Any comments? Maybe we can go through council and you could, yeah.
Sorry.
Councilor Field, were you next?
You didn't have my hand up, but I can say something, Your Worship.
How about Councilor Rocky then?
Unless you're cutting me off.
Well,
I could say something. Well, I just wanted to say that I shared a lot of Councillor Best's views a while ago, but having had the chance to meet with the mayor and you during the summer, I came away changed, and I really thought that you are going to be the one that's going to change this Badlands group for us. And I believe in that, because you talked about other small towns that you were able to bring events to and get them to be part of this tourism area. And I think the fact that you have done your homework on our town and you know a great deal about it is another thing that's a positive. I think one of Strathmore's difficulties we deal with is we don't have a tourism or a thing that will constantly bring people here. We have events, and then the events are over. So if we were able to find a way to work with Badlands to find something that could be a regular draw for people, and I don't know if the Ag Society's ever thought about this, but we talked about how the rodeo has a 3-day run and it was trimmed down, but maybe there's something that we could look at, like a rodeo academy or a rodeo school for young people that they could train at the Ag Society too, and we could become known for that. And then we embrace the Western heritage that you were talking about, as well as the downtown overlay. So I guess bottom line is I'm more positive than I was after meeting with you in the summer, because I do feel you did your homework, and you do. And you told me, and you mentioned that you were involved with it before, you helped start it, and you've been brought back. So I think that the past is the past, and maybe we can look forward.
Thank you. Councilor Rocky?
Thank you, Your Worship. Quite honestly, I was closed-minded on this until I started reading this stuff here yesterday. I have to agree with Councilor Fuel here on just about everything he said. 2 years ago, I think we signed on this first time. It was 2 years ago, and really on a certain amount per capita, and I haven't even seen the signs on the east and west side of town. However, I'd like to be open-minded, and looking at some of the items here where you want to work with the efforts of Tracy Simpson, who was very instrumental in Cycle Alberta there, including Strathmore and themed tourism routes, I think would be great. And the one that caught my eye was the Main Street Inventory Program. I think that'd be excellent for this town with some of the problems we've got downtown. Yeah, I'm very much in favor of this now.
Councilor Sobel?
That's the name, thank you.
Yeah. Last me for a minute.
I guess I have two questions. First of all, do you know the cost per capita for you to stay in Sydney? And
the word was $6,600.
And I'm following councillors Few and Blockland. you're selling this this project, and you're doing a very good job of it. But I don't mean that disrespectfully. I feel your passion for this. My question, quite pointedly, is how long can we expect you to be with them?
I don't know how to make this work.
Just go ahead. Don't worry about it.
Three-year contract.
And when did it start?
It started May the 6th.
Thank you.
Councilor Hamilton?
Well, everybody said basically what I've been thinking. I've been a proponent of Canadian Badlands, I think, since its inception. I'll keep it simple, and I'll throw my support in behind you.
And from my point of view, that I realize that marketing is very difficult, and it takes more than just 1 year or 2 years to get it going and running. And I think that you're very enthusiastic about it. I think you will do something for us. I would like to give it another good go because we need to put this down on the map, and that's one way of doing it. And there's many ways of doing it, but that's one of the ways we can do it. And we got to sell our community. We haven't done the greatest job in the past. There's been too many negatives. You come with a positive light, and I really appreciate it.
And Your Worship, I have a personal vested interest being a resident here.
Right.
One way to have it.
Thank you. So looking for a direction from council. I guess I'm going to ask administration. We need a motion to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I move that Strathmore continue supporting and being a member of the Canadian Badlands.
You all heard the motion. If there's no further questions, all in favor? Opposed? One opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I wonder if I should have included in that's for 1 year, period, Your Worship.
That would be for
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
Do you need that renamed, reread? Maybe we should.
Sorry, it's a.
Maybe we
Would
should.
be for 1 year. Okay, administration.
Linda will take care of it.
Thank you.
Yes, that council remains shareholder of the Canadian Badlands Tourism Organization for a 1 year period.
Yeah. 5-4 delegation, Golden Hills. I think you're going to have to hold the mic. That doesn't work.
Thank you, Your Worship. My name is Dave Price. I'm chairman of the Board of Trustees for Golden Hills School Division. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you about a potential partnership on facilities so that you're aware of that. And to my left, your right, is Bevan Davern, our superintendent of schools, and he will speak. He will do the PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll both respond to any questions and comments at the end, if that's acceptable.
Thank you and welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. We're just waiting for the computer to start up here, so I'm not sure if a moment of silence is appropriate or not. But I can probably begin talking a little bit while we wait for this to happen, but eventually I'm going to have to stop and wait for it to catch up. But it looks like we're making progress. I think I should start by saying that our situation here in Strathmore from a school perspective has been a very good one. We have some beautiful facilities here in town, and we have actually 8 schools in town, 3 elementary schools, Brentwood, Westmount, and Wheatland School, as well as a junior high school, Crowther Memorial Junior High, Strathmore High School. We have, in addition to that, a Christian K-9 school, that's Trinity Christian School. We have a virtual school, Golden Hills Learning Academy, and we also operate a storefront outreach school, Strathmore Storefront School. And all of these schools have been doing well and continuing to improve. These schools are basically full for the last number of years, and they continue to get fuller. We had continued growth again this year, which as from a school district's perspective or from a town's perspective, growth is a good thing. As we are all aware, that growth brings renewal in a bunch of ways. It brings additional funding. For the town, it brings an additional taxation base. And it's good for us in many ways. Additional students ultimately results in better programming for kids. And so we're very pleased to see that happen. We've worked hard in our school district over the last number of years to provide a high-quality academic program, enhanced programming in other ways, and we've focused on developing connected, collaborative graduates who are tech-savvy and are creative problem solvers. And we have been competitive, and this has helped us with growth. But it has created a problem, too. And that problem is that we are quickly running out of space. And we are quickly running out of ways to creatively find more space. We are in town here in pretty much a constant cycle of renovation and addition in order to provide the additional classrooms that we need. At Crowther Memorial Junior High, we are now out of space to add portables on that site. We have no more room. Wheatland Elementary, we have portables going in, modular classrooms, we call them now, this year. And with the addition of those, we will effectively be close to out of space there. Westmount School, we have about 500 students, are bursting at the seams, have renovated and modernized that, or not modernized, but renovated that school a number of times to capture additional space. We'll be adding portables again later this year. These would be here, by the way, if not for the flooding and the demands in other parts of the province that redirected some of those temporarily. But again, we'll be quickly out of space as well. We have plans also at Brentwood School to add a little bit more, but all of our schools are full. Trinity Christian School is not our own building. We lease that space. And there have been changes with lease support from Alberta Education, and at some point in time we will require our own building there. As well, that program continues to grow, and we continue to renovate leased space in order to accommodate the kids. I say all this to explain our situation. The administration here in town is familiar with our situation, and we've been working closely with them to identify potential school sites in town for new schools. And we have appreciated very much the positive and excellent working relationship we have enjoyed with the town and the town administration for some time. So we thank you for that. But we continue to have challenges. While we are moving ahead with our challenges for space and requiring a new school, in our conversations with community members, our conversations with the town, we also know that there are some challenges here for space. And this would be in the area of recreational facilities. And let me at this time, I'll just pause and start this so we can. So we understand that that you are receiving some pressure and a growing need for recreational facilities. There are some excellent facilities outside. We share a lot of space within our school sites in the town for parks and fields and ball diamonds. Town has some very good other space as well within the park and the diamonds and the walking paths. As winter rolls in, though, we have more challenges, and we do our best as a school system to help accommodate those additional community needs that we are experiencing in town through leasing or giving our gymnasium and school space to the number of community groups that are requesting it. All our facilities are booked flat out, basically 24/7 throughout the school year as a result of demand across the community. We understand that many of you get calls for additional recreation space in the community. And certainly within the quality of life master plan that you had done, that there was some mention of providing additional space in there as well. We are all operating in competitive environments where, as from a town's perspective, you're looking to attract new families. With those families brings additional revenue that allow you to continue to do a better job for existing residents, and we see the same thing within our school system as well. We see that our two needs have the potential for us to work together on providing potential for a facility that would work for both of us. Other communities have similar challenges, and we have seen the response of other communities to these issues going ahead. We know that Olds has a partnership program there where they've worked with the college as well as the province and the community to a certain extent in the Ralph Klein Center and the facilities shared by Olds High School and the college and available to the public. It is a pretty amazing facility. I'm not sure that that would be within our reach, but certainly it provides a lot of options for the community. It has large gym spaces, fitness area, racquetball and squash, track, inside track for walking, and is well used by the community, as well as theater spaces. Drumheller, with a smaller population as well, has just completed work on their community facility as well, a recreation facility there. That's quite a large structure, a multi-purpose facility for conferences, for playing fields, field house. They use it for lacrosse and indoor soccer as well. They have a walking track there too that's available for seniors and people in the winter to use for fitness and exercise. We were reading in the paper the other day that Langdon, which continues to grow, is now also looking to see what they can do for recreation facilities for that town. And so this really is a very preliminary, and for lack of a better word, we'll call it a presentation, but really at this point we're just sharing some ideas and looking for ways that we can work together, our two organizations, to both better meet our needs. There's our process in order to receive a new school is a challenging one for us. There are not a lot of new schools awarded in the province, and part of a partnership with the town works in our advantage this way. There is a huge demand in the province for new schools, and you read about in the papers in Calgary and Edmonton and many other areas. For a regular school on the corner in a regular subdivision, it seems like those are more difficult to see those awarded. Calgary is clamoring for schools. Our neighboring area, Rocky View School Division, I'm sure if they were given 5 or 6 tomorrow, they would say, well, that's a help, but we're not all the way there yet. Edmonton is in the same situation. Innovation, creativity, and partnership have become some of the criteria that receive additional consideration proposals from school districts with the province in looking at new schools and modernizations and facility plans. Within Golden Hills, I think in the recent round of announcements that have come out across the province, there were 12 schools announced outside of the big metropolitan areas of Edmonton and Calgary. And of those 12, Golden Hills was awarded 2 of those schools. One a new construction and one a modernization. Part of the reason that that happened was that those proposals that were before the province had something unique about them. They were in a partnership. They met some of those criteria in the innovation and creativity. Partnerships between school districts and private enterprise or a community or the town receive, we believe, additional consideration when the province is looking to invest in infrastructure across the province. Obviously, they feel they get better bang for their buck when they approach this from a partnership perspective. And so there are some advantages in working together. As we look ahead and look at the possibilities, I think it falls to you as a council to consider where the needs are and the requests, I guess, and the dialogue that you've had with community. We certainly know the pressure that we're under as far as facilities in town. But given the challenges in proposals for new schools, as well as the challenges in moving ahead with facilities from a town perspective, partnerships to approach this together seem like a very wise process to consider in moving ahead.
You want to say something?
Well, yeah, I would reinforce Bevan's comments. He's a little bit conservative, I guess, in terms of just expressing how strong an impact the partnership and the community support is for achieving success in getting new schools or major renovations to schools. There's no question. It was in the hundreds of schools that were on the top of school boards' capital plans requested in the province, and there was 30 odd of them awarded, a dozen, as Bevan says, and 2 of those happened to come to us. Now, on one hand, you could say, well, maybe it's because we were waiting a long time. And on the other hand, perhaps it was because, you know, the approach that was made by the communities that they're located in or working with, and the broad support and the opportunity for the kind of levering of the dollars and the support in those communities made the difference. And so we would really appreciate the continuing and elevated support from Strathmore in our efforts. Because as these 2 latest announcements move into reality, Strathmore becomes at the top for the next application, as far as we're concerned, at Golden Hills in our capital plan. And we would rather not be like everybody else and be sitting there waiting for a long time. We'd rather have an opportunity where the broad support was there, not only political, but in terms of the actual tangible assets that go along with that, and be in a position to have ours rise to the top as well.
Thank you. Any questions from Council? Councillor Field?
Just a statement, Your Worship. I really like the idea of partnering with the school to help put in a recreation center attached to the school. My only concerns, and I have to be careful here because you're my boss, and I don't want to have a new teaching assignment tomorrow that would surprise me. As a town, as the town government and admin, we would want to make sure that there's a real definite concrete framework as far as joint usage. And the example I want to give is that I teach at the high school, and I'd always heard that the town was going to have a lot of access to the theater, and it really hasn't. We've had a lot of arts groups that have had an incredibly hard time getting their foot in the door in the theater. And yet, on the other hand, the swimming pool has been able to be used by the public and the schools very well. So I would just want to make sure that we can find a way to make sure that something is written or drawn out that would definitely show that it's an equal usage of the place and that it doesn't become a territorial, this is the school and this is the town, and vice versa.
I think that's an excellent question, and I don't think you need to worry about the. I mean, we always have openings on the Hutterite colonies, but
I knew it.
He is Hutterite.
I think that we have a strong history of partnership and respecting the boundaries of the joint use agreements that we have worked to develop over time. We have those agreements in many of the communities in which we operate it. You know, I think of the theater specifically. In this case, that would be a school that was built primarily and almost exclusively for the school. And wherever possible, we allow school spaces to be used by the community if there is room. And so, and that's one of the reasons, part of the problem with our gymnasiums. Our high school gymnasiums are used constantly by our school programs. Elementary, not so much, but they are all used up within Strathmore with community programs on any of the evenings that our schools are not using them, which at the elementary level is most of them. So we're seeing 5-6 days a week in some of our elementary schools for community groups in our school gyms. In Drumheller, we have a partnership with the Kaleidoscope Theatre, which is a community-based theatre. That theater is attached to, some might say in the school, but we would say we have a strong joint use agreement with that organization, where we work out the use, and the school uses it, as does the theater regularly, and they have kind of an alternating program where they work through the use of that, and some wonderful community productions have come out of there, as well as some excellent school productions too. So we are able to come up with agreements that work for everybody. In this case, Kaleidoscope would say they benefit from not having to worry about the maintenance on that area, while at the same time getting the use. And for us, we get the use of a theater for which another organization has fundraised and made possible to have it exist. So it's a benefit for both. In town, should this be something that we can proceed on principle with, we would, of course, need to have guidelines that work for everybody. And that's, of course, the essence of good partnerships. Everybody feels good about it. One thing I didn't mention talking earlier is timelines for this. Part of the reason that this is coming up now is, as Dave suggests, we need to be planned and ready for the next round of announcements. We don't know when our next school announcement may come. There isn't a process that we can say we're due at such and such a time. All we can do is put together a proposal that resonates with the province and resonates with Alberta education. Partnerships resonate. But right now, in the town's planning framework, as an administration, the town is looking for suitable school sites. With the development that's continuing, then they're looking for enough land, enough space in the right area for a school. If we are to proceed with a possible partnership, the way that looks might change, and this is the time to decide whether or not that's a possibility. It's not likely that we will see a new school announcement within the next 12 months. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's probably just not likely. But we hope to see something sometime in the next 5 years. And so the planning and the work that we do now paves the way for an innovative proposal to be well received by the province and to put us both in better shape in those areas in which we need to continue to improve.
Thank you, Councillor Hamilton.
Just a question to Bevan through the chair. Are you looking to partnership with any of the, like, Synovises or Encanas, Huskies, something like that for rec facilities?
In our schools, we look to partner with a number of community and local groups whenever there's a project that we have moving ahead. So, as an example, right now we're modernizing a facility in Trochu. It's a multi-million-dollar project that's going on, and we've worked with the county, with the town of Trochu, and with a local society. And between those three groups, we are partnering, and they're putting in an additional, I think it'll probably come out around $850,000 by the time the project is done, to enhance the project, to make it a better project for the community. We know that in our small communities, the school is in many ways a hub of that community. And so those dollars put into a facility that can be used by lots of people are valuable, and it's worthwhile. So we're currently looking at an East Wheatland project as well, and of course we'll be pursuing those kinds of relationships also. So absolutely, I think there's more power to those kinds of partnerships in addition if there are two organizations working together, and by two I mean us and you.
Thank you.
Councillor Rucky.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair to Bevan. I'm just curious on something here, and maybe you can answer my question. I actually got two of them, but the population base in Strathmore hasn't changed too much in the last 3 to 4 years. Where's all these kids coming from that we're running out of space?
That's a good question. So we're not sure about that either. In fact, our growth in Strathmore has been counter to our projections the last 2 years. In fact, we've been out a fair number of percentage points on our, and we hadn't been previously. If we look at our projections for our district over the last decade or so, we're typically, especially in the last 5 years, we're within 0.5% of being right on. And the last couple of years, we've been out by about 4%. And when we're talking about 6,000 students, that's a significant number of students. And much of that growth, we can point here and say it's happening in Strathmore. So I don't know. I live in an area near new development, and I see the number of houses get built there in the summer, and I think, well, we probably won't have a lot of new kids this fall, and then turns out I'm wrong again. And so that's a very good question. I don't know if there's house sales happening for existing properties and new families are being attracted or new families are coming in. Certainly you see Langdon growing very quickly, and we see a lot of development in Chestermere. And I think that's part of this proposal as well. I think that if with some more amenities within the town, it may do something to attract some of that growth a little further east as well.
And your timelines you speak of, are we going to get to a point down the road somewhere in the next year or 2 or 3 where you're going to have to turn away? It won't get to that point, will it? Where
I can promise you it will never get to that point where we are turning away kids. We will continue to be creative and problem solve through this so that we can provide good facilities for students, and we'll continue to make that happen. It will get interesting in a while.
Thank you.
The point is, part of the reason that we're here, as Bevan has said, is to try and stay a little bit more ahead of that than what the image might be. And even from the point of a decision to the time that students can actually enter the building, it's between 2 and 3 years. So even if we were able to get something happening now, we're looking 3 years out. So, time is of the essence, and particularly, I can speak a little bit easier maybe on this than Bevan should, and that is that the politics, and you guys probably know this as well or better than I do, the politics of making decisions on who gets what when it comes to capital spending from the province is politics. And so you need to be able to have as many boxes checked off as you can and have an elevated political win in the mix in order to get on that list. And until that changes, that's the rules that our board has to deal with. So the more chips that we can get lined up, the stronger the proposal can be, the better it is for kids and for the community, the more likely we've got a chance of getting to the top of the list and getting on to the next round.
Councillor Field?
Oh, no. Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. The last thing I wanted to say is I absolutely agree with you guys that anything we can do to make us stand out as a school, potential new school, is something that's going to help the town as well. I mean, we're going to have better facilities for the town, some recreational facilities, and then, as you said, you're going to attract new residents. So I'm totally behind this, so please don't ship me out tomorrow. I think it's a great idea to get a school and more recreation facilities.
A couple of questions I got. First off, I didn't look into it deep enough, but when you do your renovations and additions to these present schools, does that take away from the capital budget that we would use for a new school? Do you know?
The money that we would use for that is money that we are given as part of the grant for our plant operations and maintenance, or something called renewal of our maintenance. So we get a little bit of renovation money every year. Now, it's not very much, and so we have to be very careful with that, but it's part of our regular budget. We don't apply for that. The portables that we receive are modular classrooms from the province. In some ways, the more of those they're moving into Golden Hills, the more they begin to think that our need for a new school is great. And so it doesn't take away from anything in the future, and in fact, it elevates the optics of our current situation. But I think Dave made kind of a succinct statement that fits very well with our situation. You know, we know that we will need a new school within the next few years. We don't know exactly what that number is exactly. If, as a town council, you feel the same way about recreational facilities in town, we have a win, I think. And it makes sense for us to work together because we both know we're going to need those things. The planning for that, there's no time like the present. And the more that we put those things off, also, the pricier they become in the future. And it's sometimes easier to, though none of these things are cheap, it's easier to bear this early, the cost, rather than later on.
Well, we're definitely in need of recreational facilities. We've all talked about that many times, and I for one, would definitely like that sort of concept and project. The P3 situation with private funding, has that ever been done with this sort of combination yet?
I can't speak to that with certainty. I think there have probably been some kinds of partnerships at some scale with private groups across the province. I mean, we have heard of a few things that are possibilities with some of the energy companies and that kind of thing. I don't know that that really has been explored on a larger scale, and I don't know what the response would be. We are in an area where we have a few energy companies that work. We are definitely going to explore some of those things in a partnership way with the project further to the east. But here in Strathmore, I think that there's just some real possibilities to look at that.
I would request yourselves and administration to explore that situation, so that would, for further counsel to use, Not any questions? Thank you very much. Great presentation. We know it's necessary, and most of us are on site, I believe, or if not all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
It is.
And Your Worship, I assume that administration will continue to have negotiations, discussions with the school board and come back to council with further suggestions and information.
With the recreational concept in mind?
Right on.
Yeah. 5-5, Earl, Council Best. Thank you.
First of all, let me thank the mayor and council for their indulgence in my request to be heard tonight. It's with a heavy heart and a great deal of sadness and reflection that I sit facing council tonight. Earlier this evening, I notified Mayor Graychuk that I do not intend to seek re-election to the town of Strathmore's town council. For the past 9 years, it's been my privilege and honor to sit as a councillor and have been extremely fortunate to represent and serve the fine citizens of this great town. I am deeply saddened and truly regretful to step down. However, I can walk away with my head held high, knowing I was true and honest in all my dealings with and for the town of Strathmore. My thanks go out to the 3 mayors I've had the privilege to serve under, and the 12 different councillors whom I have had the honor to serve with. In particular, my gratitude and love goes out to the person I lovingly refer to as my mentor, the late Mayor Keith Snyder. A special place in my heart remains for our CAO, Dr. Dwight Stanford, our Deputy CAO, Linda Nelson, and the miraculous members of the town staff who perform a marvelous job each and every day, making this town the wonderful place it is. I need to give my most sincere gratitude and love to the citizens of Strathmore who have given me the opportunity to serve them for the past 9 years as a member of their town council. But most of all, I would like to thank my darling wife. Colleen has given me unwavering and unconditional love and support. I know that leaving now, I'm leaving the town in capable hands, that it will continue to grow and prosper. I wish all those who run for council and mayor the best of luck, and I thank you for everything.
Well, thank you very much, Earl. That's very nice, and we do appreciate the work that you have done. And on behalf of myself and town council, we wish you the best of luck in the future, in your future endeavors. And once again, thank you very much for all the hard work that you have completed in the community. Yeah. The 6-1 bylaw number 13-17 land use bylaw amendment. Once again, I'm going to excuse myself from the room for a possible conflict of interest and turn it over to Deputy Mayor Hamilton.
Mr. Worship, I'll also excuse myself for the same reasons.
Go ahead.
I think we need second reading first.
Okay.
I would, Your Worship, I would move that council give second reading to the land use bylaw amendment bylaw 13-17.
You heard the motion. All in favor? Carried.
Discussion.
Discussion? Thank you. No discussion? I'm looking.
Oh, sorry. Your Worship, I just want to add one thing. I think this is great that we've finally gotten to this point. There's been a lot of hard work, like Councillor Best has said, and I think this is a great move for us to have something that's going to help revitalize the downtown area.
Very good.
I would just wonder if, is there anything else that you wanted to add, Pat?
Through the chair, I don't think so. I think this is a great first step, and this will lead into a full-blown downtown revitalization strategy, and I think it's an exciting start.
Very good. I'm looking for third and final reading.
Your Worship, I would move that council give third and final reading to the land use bylaw amendment bylaw number 13-17.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Recall.
Can we clap?
Recall the real mayor.
Real mayor.
Thank you. 6-2 bylaw number 13-06 Heritage Heights ASP.
Your Worship, I move that council give first reading to bylaw 13-06 and set a public hearing date of November 20th, 2013.
You all heard the motion. All in favor?
Point of order, Your Worship. I believe this has to be done on two motions.
It should be done, probably. No?
What?
Which one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. No old business on the agenda. New business 8-1 reduction of
It's been dealt with, Your Worship.
that was been dealt with. Sorry. 8-2 greater attachment Snowgate. Jesse, welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As our snow season fastly approaches, say that it feels like it. We've had some conversations operationally with respect to potential recruitment going into the season here in 2015, 2014. One of the items that's come to light, or one that we've been looking into now for some time, is an opportunity to improve some of our grader capabilities. We have two graders, one that we call medium duty and one that we call a light duty grader. Medium duty grader is a Deere 770 grader, and is largely used for windrowing snow ahead of the snow blower during the winter months and helping with snow clearing from the roadways as needed. One of the challenges that we've encountered with windrowing is managing the windrow during the roadway and controlling that windrow. If you've seen some of the windrows that we are managing in the roadways, we are carrying windrow through intersections and along driveways and access points, and that can be a bit of an issue with snow removal and access onto roadways and other roads and access. The piece of equipment that we're looking at or have asked for council's consideration this evening is a piece of equipment called a snow gate. And what a snow gate is in essence a hydraulic controlled gate on the end of your blade, your grader blade, that the operator has the ability to lift and lower to manage the windrow as they're clearing snow. So as your blade is tilted and you're clearing snow, the snow falls off the end of your blade in typical grader operations. But at the end of your trailing edge of your blade, you have the ability to lower this, and it acts almost then as a box blade, if you're familiar with those loader type of box blades that are used in snow clearing operations. And it traps the snow. So if you're passing an intersection or a driveway, you can drop that end gate or the snow gate and control the windrow so that it doesn't spill into the driveway or into the roadway through the intersection, and you drop it on the other side of the intersection or roadway. It does help with then managing that and then keeping intersections open without a second piece of equipment or the grader operator reversing and coming back to then clear the windrow from the roadway or otherwise. It's a small, relatively small addition to a grader in terms of the capability that it does bring. And one of the things we feel it will help with is in terms of our downtown operation. Some consideration last year with respect to the windrow that we use in the downtown. We've tried to, I guess, remove snow as quickly as we can from the downtown area, and basically then it's been a challenge with the windrow going to the edge of the roadway. So we have the ability to then manage the windrow, place it at a certain couple locations downtown, and potentially reduce the amount of snow along the curb as we clear snow ahead of coming back to the road. So this evening, basically what we've identified is a capital project for the snow gate attachment on a grader. We've asked for a capital budget of $9,400 for the purchase and installation of this piece of equipment on our current grader, and we've asked the council to consider adding a capital project to the shopping district.
Any questions from the council? Councilor Best.
I guess my only question is you know how when you grade downtown, especially downtown, you end up with those big banks of snow that the shop owners have to either come out and clear or get someone to do that. Will this work for that at all?
One of the things that we've discussed, and we're starting our snow operation discussion for this season, is if with this piece of equipment, we could potentially look at almost like a couple of parking stalls becoming like a snow storage stall downtown, rather than having a constant windrow. We could have a cleared area followed by a larger pile and then clear and clear. So that instead of a constant windrow, it could be kind of a multiple pile type of thing, and then you have better access to the sidewalk. We're still planning to do removal within, I'll say within 2 evenings of a snowfall.
Right.
Ideally within the first evening, but depending on the timing of the snow stopping fall. So we have asked the businesses downtown to be patient in terms of the removal aspect. We're going to come through and plow as quickly as we can, but the removal can't happen immediately based on the number of streets and things we have to clear. So this might help with reducing the windrow, continuous windrow, and having strategic placements of snow.
Thank you.
Councilor.
Just a comment, you guys have got a horrendous job to do in the wintertime. I think you do it very well, given all the circumstances. Certainly, comments I hear from other communities aren't as favorable as what I see is going on in this town. Anything that, and this is an evolving thing, I appreciate it, and obviously this is something that is going to make your operation even more effective. I have absolutely no problem with this, and would move that the council approve a 2013 capital project for the purchase of a snow gate grader attachment in the amount of $9,400 to be funded from the Financial Stabilization Reserve.
You all heard the motion. No further comments or questions? I would just like to say that, so this can be used in extraordinary circumstances such as a handicapped lady's place or a person's place to take away the snow on a driveway or something like that?
I guess, yes, it definitely could. And one of the qualifiers or comments that I've put into the agenda this evening is where the grader doesn't plow all of our roadways, we've kind of made a step towards using more plow trucks. So we fit up a tandem truck going into this season. We have 2 plow trucks and sanders now that we'll be using. So the grader will continue to do snow plowing, but the grader doesn't do every roadway. So in terms of the expectation that residents won't see a windrow at the end of their driveways, there will still be a windrow on most driveways, but in problem areas, we'll be able to use this piece of equipment to help, and as needed, where we can assist the public in their.
My comment was extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
Thank you. You all heard the motion. No further comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse.
Hopefully we don't have to do anything.
No.
Yes.
8.3, page 73, rescue truck. Go ahead, administration.
Thank you, Your Worship. The fire department was approved to purchase a rescue truck with the amount not to exceed $250,000. Fire department has sent out 3 RFPs. Only 1 response came back. The truck meets the bare minimum standards of the NFPA 1901. It's a bare minimum, take about a year to build. With the trade-in for the current rescue truck, the cost would come in at $277,048 plus GST, for a difference of $27,048 plus GST. And we're looking for approval for this over expenditure.
What was those figures again?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
We got 291,000 there.
Right, I'm putting the numbers without the GST. Okay, so it would be without GST, $277,048 plus GST.
So that's the trade-in value taken off of the basic price. Okay.
Basic price of $297,048, less $20,000 for the trade-in, equates to $277,048 plus GST.
Of course, our GST is rebated.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be fair to include that in the $250,000 expense.
Yes.
My only comment would be was that the trade-in usually is so much less value. Aren't we farther ahead to advertise and sell it ourselves?
The current rescue truck is, I believe, over 20 years old.
So it's not worth that.
Sorry?
It's not worth 20,000 then. Thanks. Councillor Field.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. A question through the chair to Linda. Do we know any reason why no one else returned with the tender, and is that able to be heard?
I believe our maximum price of $250,000 from what was explained to me is it wasn't worth putting to bid on this. I think most rescue trucks, custom built, are a fair bit more expensive than this. This is just a bare minimum.
Councillor Hamilton.
Through the chair to Linda, do we have an option to, if we do purchase this vehicle at bare minimum, can we add on? Or could you answer that question through the chief?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
My only recommendation on all this would have been is that can't we get quotes prior to going through this?
They did attempt to receive quotes.
Before we approved the 250 is what I'm saying. Couldn't we have got quotes so we know where we stand already rather than going through this process?
Certainly, I believe they had asked for this at the spring workshop, and it took this long for them to get all the votes.
Thank you. Councillor Rocky.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair to Linda, where is the extra $47,000 going to come from? Out of this fire protection reserve?
It would actually be 27.
If you get 20, are they gonna, is that a fact, they're gonna give us 20 for that old one?
This is what we've been quoted, yes, 20,000.
Okay, so then we're $27,000 over.
Exactly, and we do have that amount in the fire protection reserve.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Best.
Your Worship, I'm just wondering about the figures here. For the recommendation, it's quoting $291,900, but I guess that's what we would pay, and then we would get the GST back after. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Comments? But we do have the money in that.
We do have the money in the fire protection reserve, yes.
Do you know what would be left after?
There's approximately $300,000 in that reserve fund right now.
Councillor Hamilton?
In that case, I've always been a proponent of fire protection, so I'll make the motion that council approve the purchase of a 2014 Rosenbauer rescue truck from Rocky Mountain, Phoenix, Red Deer, Alberta, with the amount not to exceed $291,900.40, and that the funds are drawn from the fire protection reserve.
Thank you. Y'all heard the motion. Any further questions or discussions? Councillor Rocky.
Thank you, Your Worship, through the chair to Linda. Are they absolutely positive they cannot find any quotes anywhere else?
Yeah, I believe this is a very specialized quote because they have to actually build the unit. It takes about a year to build the unit. And we did ask for the 3 quotes and only got 1 response back.
Dwight, do you want to say?
Sure. One of the key things on this was the fire department decided on the kind of truck they want and the specs they wanted, and it was following another truck that's in the region, and they looked at it and said, this is the specs we want. So when it went out to the 3 firms, 2 of them said, we don't build like that, and there was only one that does trucks like this, and that's why only 1 tendered on. But the other 2 build trucks, but not to these specs. They're different specs.
Are these specs normal for what we need for Strathmore, or are they upgraded specs?
No, these specs are good. This is a good truck. There's no question on that. The other companies build trucks. We don't know what their price is for the truck they would be providing.
Councillor Best?
I guess hearing what I just heard, I'm kind of concerned in as far as is it a want or a need that we have this specific truck, or should we be looking at something that's not going to totally deplete the reserve?
They can all build good trucks.
Well, I'm wondering, I know the
George,
chief
Councillor
is...
Fuel is next.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Pardon.
I was just going to ask through the chair, is there a real time crunch on this? I know it takes a year to build, but if we were to not necessarily postpone, but as following Councillor Rocky's thoughts, look to see if there's other companies, look to see if this is the exact fire truck that has to be. This is quite a big expenditure over what was budgeted. So I'm just wondering if we can take a little more time on this.
This item could be brought back to the fall workshop.
Okay.
I certainly would like it. It's something that's not right here. It doesn't fit with me. Councillor.
Yeah, specifically, and I wonder if Chief Muir can explain why he wants this specific vehicle. There's some reasons why these specific specs. I mean, maybe there's a very good reason why he's looking for these specific specs, but I'd like to hear it. I don't know that now.
So there is a motion on the floor by Councillor Hamilton. So we can just vote against it. Okay. All those if there are no further questions or comments, all those in favor? That's up to you. But anyway, opposed? Thank you. Funding for the Christmas Hamper Society, page 75, that's 8-4. Thank you, Linda. We've had some discussion on it. Any administration comments? Not?
Hearing none, Your Worship, I would move that council grant $2,700 to the Christmas Hamper Society for the 2013 Christmas Hamper Program.
You all heard the motion. My question, if there's not any further questions or comments, where's that money coming from?
It'll have come from financial stabilization.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Page 8.5, item 8.5, Cerebral Palsy Day, page 77.
I move the council proclaim the second day of October 2013 as the World Cerebral Palsy Day.
Thank you. Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Administration, or no, 8.6, sorry, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, page 81.
Your Worship, I would move that council proclaim the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Nothing been further from administration, committee and departmental reports. Any questions between councillors and administration?
Your Worship, I have one thing. I had a thank you card actually dropped off to Town Council and Mayor of Strathmore. And I'd like to read it. It's quite nice, actually. I wish to thank all the persons who worked so hard in doing such a fine job on Thomas Drive. Also, the beautification along the Path Canal, the walkway, shrubbery, and trees are wonderful and very attractive. The construction hassle for all residents was worth the wait and temporarily inconvenient. It gives me great hope that the downtown renewal will be worthwhile too. I have lived in Strathmore since 1986 and I love my town. Again, thank you for a project well done. Signed by Brenda L. North.
Thank you. Very nice. Often we get a lot of beefs and bouquets, but more beefs usually. But that was very nice. Any consultations? Not nothing in camera. Don't believe.
Move to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment. All in favor? Carried.
Beat me to it.